gundam.tk presents Double Zeta Gundam. Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Robert184 from gundam.tk, and that's 2 R's, 2 B's. And anyway, I'm finishing up and wrapping up my review of the Master Grade Double Zeta Gundam. Don't forget to check out the earlier parts for the box parts and to see it all put together. But now it's time to transform this into the core top, the core base, and the G Fortress. The first step of the transformation is the double beam rifle, and you basically just get rid of the sight and you bring these around, and then you can bend them up or down depending on whether you're going to put this into the core top or the G Fortress. But anyway, once you've done that, you also get rid of the trigger and open up these gates at the back. The next thing you do is twist this part down, and then you actually pop the arm out a little bit, and then you just pull this shield out and switch it around. The next thing to do is to open up the forearms here, and you'll spin this around and bring the thruster around. And once you've done that and sealed it up and locked it into place, you'll have this kind of effect. Then you pivot this down from the heel and spin this around towards the front. After spinning the leg down, you actually pull this whole part down, and then you're able to bend this and you see that a thruster is revealed here in the knee. And then after you swing this part down and you pop it back into place, which pushes the thruster to the back, and then you have what used to look like a leg is now looking, well, a little less so. So again, it's a little something like this. You pop this down, pivot it up, push this forward, bring the leg up, and then push the leg in, and once you do that, well, there goes the cockpit hatch, but out comes the thruster, which then you just pivot into place like this. For the head, you spin down these V-fins, which really are too loose, and you get them out of the way as much as possible, and then you're able to bring the head back on this gray rocking mechanism, and then you bring this chest panel up, replace the red part that always wants to fall off, and then we're going to attach the double beam rifle on underneath here. You'll see that there's 2 pegs here, and those are going to hook on to those slots there, and then these gates are going to open up and you're going to seal them around these holes here in the collar. And that locks into place really well, and we start to have the appearance of something that doesn't look like the top of a Gundam. And the head is hidden, which is a bonus as well. To turn the forearms into the wings of the jet here, you're going to bring this part forward, pivot this up, spin this around, and just put that down, and this part up. And for those of you who are a fan of losing parts, you take off a blue part here and 2 white parts here from the elbow when you put in the landing gear. For the legs, once you've pivoted them around, which I should have done a little bit earlier, you're going to take this part from the huge backpack, detach this red part, and then you're going to spin it back here, and once you've done that, you'll notice that there's 2 holes here in the back of the ankles, and you're going to plug that into the backpack. And that locks into place fairly securely once you've got that plugged in, and then you just spin up these wings and put them forward. For the landing gear, there's a white panel there that you pop off and put on this 2-tired landing gear, and then on the knees you swing these panels open and then just plug in the landing gear back there. And the final step is to take the core fighter and keep these parts in, take off the landing gear here, and then you're going to plug this into the back. So here's a look at the legs, or the core base, and it actually doesn't look too bad. There's a lot of color in there, again, because the legs had that much built into it, but mostly on the strength of the core fighter there at the front. And you do so many changes with the legs that you don't really see that they're legs anymore, and especially once you've locked them into place here with the backpack, everything does fit fairly securely. For transforming Gundams, I like to do a shake test, and well, you can hear a few things moving, but otherwise it stayed in place fairly well. And on the other hand, here we have the core top, which is the top of the Gundam, and I have to say that this looks actually pretty cool in terms of a vehicle, and that's for a couple simple reasons. A, the wings are hard to line up here in the back, so that's not really good. The shields do look good, but it's the double beam rifle here and the clear parts there, and the way the chest folds forward so you get the yellow and the red there. But otherwise, I think the front does look very much like a 1980s imagined Transformer. But the shake test for this, while the front stays together very well, It's just a matter of getting these arms and legs and the forearms and everything lined up really well, and they tend to want to move. Not so bad when you shake them, but it's just a matter of getting them just right, and if you jar them, then it's going to look asymmetrical. Finally, to turn this into the G-Fortress, what you're going to do is you're going to take out the core fighter, replace the core block, and then you're going to plug that into here, which should bring these two halves together. So to connect the back to the front, what you're supposed to do is open up this gray tab here and then swing this arm forward, and then it locks into place fairly securely. And then you're going to do some fiddling here with the arms, and because these things are hard to keep just in the right place, once you actually put the beam sabers around them, they do stay in place. Of course, they become cannons then. And then you replace the landing gear with a longer one here and bend in the cannons. Now there's no way that this is going to fit on my turntable, but here's an idea of how this G-Fortress, the impression is that it's massive. So I'll just do a spin around there. I don't have my legs quite lined up properly there in the back. But anyway, there it is from the other side, and there it is from the back. And for shaking this, once you hold that gray part down, actually you hardly hear anything. So my impression of the G-Fortress is pretty positive overall. It's basically, it looks very much like a long, cool rocket ship. And you don't really see the legs, and the arms still are flimsy though and get in the way. But otherwise, the head of the Gundam is well concealed, the legs are concealed, and the arms, because the fists have disappeared into thrusters, I think it does a pretty good job of hiding the fact that it's a Gundam, while still maintaining a somewhat cool-looking, futuristic, toy, spaceship kind of look. Anyway, everybody, Robert184, thanks for watching. See you next time. Anime じゃないよ. Oh. You know, you're the only guy who actually punched me back.